Hey everyone, it is Kaz Windness, aka Kaz Weirdness, and on today's video we're going to talk about pricing your work for hire illustrations. So I'm a writer and illustrator, and I also teach illustration at the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. And something my students are asking me all the time is, how do I price my illustrations? So in this video today, I hope to demystify how to price your illustration using your day rate and also some other resources. Just evaluate where you fall in the industry so you can price your work accordingly. So let's get started. By the way, artists undervaluing and undercharging for their work is an epidemic. It's very common and incredibly problematic for the industry as a whole. There are a lot of reasons why artists underprice, including a societal devaluing of the arts, but mostly I believe this stems from an artist's natural sensitivity, innate proclivity towards self-criticism, and the underlying belief system that they just don't deserve more. Creating great artwork demands judgment and evaluation. It just does. We learn to compare ourselves to the masters and to contemporary heroes within our chosen field. We are taught to look at our artwork critically and evaluate where it falls short. From the fundamentals of composition, value, line, and color to the more ephemeral nuances of dynamic style, emotion, and what our art is trying to communicate. We are trained to be critical thinkers in order to grow our abilities as artists, and unfortunately, this ability to be highly critical backfires. It makes us believe that our art can't possibly be worth all that much because there are just so many other artists out there that are so much better than we are. First of all, knock it off! Most humans can't draw. They can't draw well anyway. You are a unicorn. And just because you've surrounded yourself with other very talented, very weird unicorns doesn't make you any less special. You offer a valuable and unique service, and you need to charge for what you do. You're worth it, baby. Second of all, pricing isn't just about you. Ethics goes both ways. If you undercharge for your work, you make your client pay less than they should, and that just ain't right. And you're shortchanging the whole freaking industry and creating an expectation that art isn't worth all that much after all. The next illustrator that comes along and bids on a project will inevitably be told, well, the last guy only charged X. Hey there, sport, just think of all the great exposure. Drawing is fun for you, right? Why should I pay you? It puts us all in a difficult position of explaining why we deserve to be paid fairly. Even if you were struggling to pull off that fair pricing swagger for your own bad self, do your unicorn pals a favor. Charge it anyway. We're counting on you. All right, let's get into the pricing nuts and bolts, shall we? There are many methods and resources for approaching art and illustration pricing, and I'll touch on a few of these at the end of the presentation. First, I think it's important that you understand what your day rate is. This will give you a baseline and a good sense of what you need income-wise to make your art business viable. I get that it can be scary to look at concrete numbers, especially for wiggly-woggly artist brain types. But I promise to make this process not so scary. Step 1. Figure out your target annual income. Calculate your living expenses and the cost of running a business, and then add 20%. If you aren't making more than you're spending, your art is a hobby. Congratulations. List everything you can think of and then add it all together. This number should include how much you'll need to survive and a buffer in case of emergencies. Include things like rent, utilities, groceries, car payment, gas, insurance, hush money, food, clothing, cable, Wi-Fi, drunk Amazon purchases, school loans, digital art program subscriptions, printer ink, a Kaz Weirdness Patreon membership, marketing items, shipping, taxes, art supplies, zombie apocalypse bunker timeshares, movies, entertainment, a baby emu, and the surgical cost of removing your parasitic twin. If you'll spend it, list it. For the sake of this presentation, we'll put that annual target income number at $50,000. Add 20% and we have $60,000. Figure out how many days you're going to work during the year. Allow time for vacation and holidays, sick days too. There are 260 weekdays in a year. That's 52 weeks times 5 weekdays. We'll minus 40 days for time off, and that gives us 220 days. Next, divide your annual income by the number of days you plan to work. For example, we're dividing 60,000 by 220 days. This gives us $272.72 or $273. If you divide this number by the hours you work per day, it will give you your hourly rate. 273 divided by 8 is $34.12 or about $34 an hour. To create an estimate for your client, figure out how long a project will take and times it by your hourly rate. As an example, from my experience, I know an 8x10 pet portrait on canvas takes me about 8 hours to paint. This is equal to a day rate of $273. If I throw in the paint and the canvas costs, and we're looking at around $300. And that is the quote that I'm going to provide the client. It wasn't too hard, was it? Another question, how do you know when to raise your rates? Number one, supply and demand. If you're getting more work than you can handle, it's time to increase the costs and value of your art. I typically do this in increments of 10 to 20%, usually on an annual basis. I give my regular clients a heads up and the opportunity to order paintings or gift certificates before the price increase takes place. This communicates client loyalty and assures my clients that they've made a great business investment by buying my artwork. It also results in a bump in commissions. Win-win. Number two, you have shifted your offerings and your target market. You are now offering higher quality work for clientele that can afford more. Price accordingly. Market expectations. Use the Graphic Artists Guild Pricing and Ethical Guidelines Handbook to compare your rates with industry standards. Pricing and cost of living vary from area to area. But if you're charging below gag estimates, you are devaluing yourself and therefore other artists in the industry. Pricing at industry standards adds perceived value to your offerings. If you undercharge, customers will wonder what's wrong with your art. If you find gag prices to be too high for your area, charge them anyway. But include a line item discount on your estimate, such as a 20% locals only discount. This both communicates the industry standard and alerts clients to appreciate the reduced price as a courtesy rather than a gimme. Passive income. Ultimately, no artist wants to be tied exclusively to an hourly rate. Being chained to the clock isn't conducive to creativity or long-term financial success. It limits your freedom and ability to take breaks and explore new directions and weather an economic crisis, and you'll never have the option to retire. Finding ways to create passive income through art licensing or reproductions is important, as is increasing your rates as demand for your work grows. Other ways to gauge pricing besides calculating your day rate and using the Graphic Artists Guild Pricing Handbook is to research what your competition is charging for similar work. For example, if you draw realistic graphite drawings of jungle animals, a quick Google search will provide several websites of artists doing similar work. Most artists include a page for pricing. Take note of the level of skill and detail involved in the artwork. Compare sizing, substrate, and any other details like framing or spot colors that may add value. If the offering is similar to yours and the pricing is reasonable or even aggressive, you can feel confident in mimicking this pricing in your own estimates. A few final notes on pricing. Always provide an estimate. This should include a detailed description of what work you are providing, how long it will take, and what the client can expect as far as pricing and when payment will be due. And don't forget to include a revision clause. If you're asked to do more work, you should be paid for doing more work. Then make sure the client reads and signs off on the estimate. Clear expectations and professional communication up front will save you problems down the road. Even if your client is your best friend, provide the estimate. Never assume that someone will intuitively understand the process or respect the value of your artistic offerings. Remember, even your closest pals have been raised in a world that doesn't respect artists. If you want to do them a favor, still provide the estimate. You can include a line item such as the happy birthday 100% discount. That way, when they come around with another commission or refer their friend, you won't have to explain why the last one was free, but this one costs money. Save a friendship, do the estimate. Invoicing. A good rule of thumb is to charge half up front and half upon completion. Include this in your estimate. Work begins when you receive the first half of payment. Work will be delivered or shipped when you receive the second half. Money demonstrates a commitment to the project, and the last thing you want to have to do is chase someone around for payment on art you already gave them. Make it easy for them to sign estimates and make payments. Use digitally signable PDFs. Send invoices through PayPal. Hardly anyone prints, signs, faxes, scans, or mails checks anymore. We live in a digital world, baby. Ethics. A note on ethics. Don't screw anyone over. Your reputation is more valuable than the price of a single piece. Deliver the art when you say you will. Communicate any snags or challenges as they occur. Provide positive solutions, always. And give the clients more than what they were expecting. Wow them! Referrals are everything in the art business. Also, treat your business like a business. Have business hours. Form an LLC. File your copyright image registration. Pay them quarterly taxes. Invest in accounting software and a good accountant who's familiar with art expenses. Run your shiz like a real shiz biz, and it will become just that. This is all I have on pricing for today. I hope this video was valuable. And remember, you're a special unicorn. Charge what you're worth, please. This has been Kaz Weirdness, aka Kaz Windness. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've got a lot out of this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. I will be providing more valuable information to you. Toot sweet! And that's it.